Okay, so I literally could not get my digital dialogue to work. I tried like 4 different computers. Didn't work today. It worked last night, but it was not working today. I had someone try to help me too. That didn't work. So we're just gonna record it on here. Sorry about that. So for my personal teaching philosophy, I would consider myself a medium control. I believe that I probably would identify with Strikers and Jane Nelson the most out of all of the philosophers, because for Jane Nelson, she is about kindness and respect and firmness and encouragement, which I think is really important for students so they can feel that love, but they can also know that like we have those rules and that we will stick to them. And for Dreikers, um, he's about logical consequences and giving children's choice, which I believe is also very important. Um, so some of the teacher roles I think it should be is to allow the students to have choice, because it is so important that they feel like they have a say in the classroom. It is also that they build that mutual respect between them and the students, and that they can show that they can withhold their side. Um, Another thing is motivation and to inspire. Um, and then they need to set the rules. They need to show the kids that they have boundaries, and they need to be able to communicate with the kids. And I think that goes a lot with the kids as well, that they are aware of what the rules are. They are aware of what their teacher is doing. They have respect for their teacher and their peers, and that they listen to the teacher. It's just that I just think it is super important that there's that mutual respect, that social contract that the students will withhold and the teacher will withhold, that there's both ends, and that they are trying their best to make the best classroom and the most safe classroom community they can. So for a democratic classroom, I think it is super important so that there is that safe classroom community, and that everyone feels like they are part, and like so no one feels left out. Um, so for one aspect of it is class jobs, which I would love to incorporate. And I think it is important that maybe like once a week, like every week, they'll switch off jobs. So there'll be like whiteboard eraser, like like passing out the papers, like line leader, pledge leader, those kind of things. And every week will switch off, so they have that role, so they feel like they are part of the classroom community. And for like leadership positions, you could like maybe have like a class president for a little bit. Like maybe these ones switch off like once a month, have like a class president, or just like any other like class president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, that kind of stuff. I know I had that when I was younger, and I absolutely loved it. For student choice, that one is just letting the kids have a choice with some things. Like I know there are some things that need to be set, but when there are like options, let the students have options. Like if there are 2 different options for an assignment, let them choose which one they want to do. That like more interests them. For voice, I think this one is important for like classroom meetings. Like that's a good way to have student voice, is letting them have a say in things and speak about their own opinions so that they feel like they are part of the community. I just feel like the community part is very, very, very important. And then for civility, um, I think this one's just teaching them how to be civil and how to be in a like society, and like showing them respect and how to treat others property, that kind of stuff. For self-governing behaviors, I believe this choice for this is a huge part, because if they don't like know how to make their own choices, they won't be able to self-govern, I believe. So allowing them that choice will help them self-govern so much. For my intentions and motivation, for intrinsic, so I feel like for my classroom I will use both intrinsic and extrinsic. So for intrinsic, that will be like what obviously is like what we're leading towards, and that's like the motivation where it comes from within and it's they want to do it for themselves. So some things for intrinsic motivation is like maybe I'll let them choose their activities, because then they'll choose something they're more interested in, and they will be more willing to do it. Um, Another thing is like I could spark a question within a unit or something, so it's like very, very interesting to them, and they are more motivated because they're like, oh, this is so interesting, like I need to find out more. And another thing is related to their lives, because then they find something relatable, and that just, of course, like it's all back to interest. As long as there's interest, it's there. Then extrinsics, obviously the reward system, like giving them rewards, giving them prizes for doing something, or like stuff like that. And this is where we can start, and especially with younger graders. It's a great way to start so they can see their rewards, like visually see it. So one example I have is like if everyone turns their homework in every day on time for a week, they can get like 5 extra minutes at recess. And another thing is like table points. Like if they're well behaved, they can get a point. And then like to get like classroom participation, like I can do like small prizes, just like little pieces of candy or like a pencil or something, things like that. So for interventions, I'll just kind of go through a few that I think are super important. So for like playing with an object, that is a very mild response. I would just take away the object, tell the child they can come pick it up after class. For like a student who is like having a hard time focus, that one is another mild one where I would just like maybe have them like go like out of the classroom for a minute, like take a note to a teacher just so they can kind of like get a break from the classroom. When students are talking during class, I would get more moderate. Like if they're disturbing others, talking out of turn, like doing that all the time, I would probably do more of a moderate response and go move the child into a place where maybe they wouldn't talk as much, or if it was just them talking and it wasn't like disturbing anyone, I would just go stand near them so they would know that I am observing what's going on. And then more severe things like tattling, I would treat more of like a chronic thing and like talk to the entire class and ask like what they think is tattling, what is appropriate, so they know what is appropriate to tell me and what is not. Another thing is so pushing in line. I would view that more as a serious thing because that can lead to bullying because it is like a mild form of bullying. I would go right to the source. I would talk to the children. I would see what's going on because that's how I would deal with bullying. Is I would want to know what's going on. If I just heard it was going on, I wouldn't go straight and just like accuse them. I would have a classroom meeting on bullying and see how children would feel if it happened to them. But if I did see it happening myself, I would go straight to the children and just say, like ask them like both sides of the story and what happened and why what happened is going on. For rules, some of the rules I listed would be like listen to the teacher, show respect for everyone in the classroom, sharing, use positive language, those kind of things. And I would set those at the beginning of the school year. Those would be some that like I would set that would be like set for the classroom. But I would also want to establish them with my kids. I'd want them to choose some. So some that like I would let them choose would just be more like things that they think are important. And I'd also let them choose consequences that go along with those. So if they do something good, they get a positive consequence where they would be rewarded for something they did. But if it was something bad, they'd get the negative consequence, which is something that isn't punishment, but it's just that they have to learn from their actions. For prevention and procedures, I think it is very important to have procedures and to set those up within the first few weeks of school. So like an example of a procedure that I would do is like lining up for lunch. I would tell the kids to push in their seats and then clean up everything on their desks, make sure everything's put away in their desks, everything's put away on top of their desks that they light, and then have them like grab their backpacks or their lunches from their backpacks and line up in alphabetical order. And like I will establish at the beginning so they know what their alphabetical order is so that they can just do that quick and easy. And then for setting up a classroom, I think it is important that we kind of have different areas. So there's a learning area, like a work area with the desks where the students can focus. But I also think it's important to have an area where they can get out of their desks and not be stuck in them all day, because who wants to be stuck in a desk all day, you know? So I just like have different areas for like different types of learning so kids can kind of get away, or if they need to focus and sit down, they can, or if they want to like be at their own table, they can. Just those types of things I think are super important. And I just think it's super important to have the kids in mind the most. Just have their needs in mind. They are the most important thing. Just make sure they feel comfortable in the classroom and they feel loved. That is our job, is make them feel loved and comfortable, and that they are doing their best in the classroom, and that they're learning the best they can. Yeah.